Oh my goodness. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast. And I am so excited to have you here back again. And we can go deeper into what I was discussing in the last video. And it's been really interesting because I've definitely been thinking about this video and what I'm going to be talking about. And I feel like it's really interesting because it's given me time to think about everything that happened and just find the best way of expressing it where I'm just really talking about it from a higher point of view and really capturing the growth that I have experienced when I did go through that experience. And so um, it's really interesting because my last video I talked about how I have been experiencing this evolution and inner transformation ever since I met my partner, and that I have been really, connecting to myself on a different level and my feminine energy, which is amazing, and it's exactly what I've always wanted. But it was not an easy transformation because it was um, really hard to go from not being in that frequency, not being in that vibration, and you know, l- going to this vibration that I am in now. And it's definitely not easy. And I wonder how many women experience this, honestly, because, it's definitely interesting when you meet your divine masculine. It's not like when you're with someone who's not in their actual divine energy because the energy is just different. The energy is really different. It's like a whole new level. It's a whole different frequency. And so, I wonder sometimes what it's like when you come face to face as a woman with this energy. And if you have similar experiences to what I went through, and um, did it feel hard? Did it feel easy? Did you have to confront a lot of parts of yourself and heal more and let go of your resistance and your the parts of you that are not letting you feel fully? It's really just about that. It's about just not letting yourself as a woman go fully into your emotions and just fully let yourself actualize your emotions. And because a lot of people try to show us, oh yeah, don't go into your emotions, detach from your emotion. But I do believe that in order for you to actually be completely in acceptance of who you are, you do have to go there at certain times. You do have to go into your emotions and feel them fully. Because as a woman, it's definitely different than a man. Because as women, we are completely taken over by our emotions. It's such a big part of who we are as a woman. And if you deny this as a woman, then you end up disconnecting from who you are. You end up disconnecting from your emotions and from your essence. Because honestly, what I realized is that um, as I started going into my emotions and letting myself feel deeply, I realized that there is a power, a superpower of being completely letting that emotion completely take over you and feeling it in your body. I'm not saying taking action on it and letting it take over you as though to refer to letting your emotion get the best of you. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying letting the emotion go fully out and be felt in your body, be felt in your, inside of you, in your heart. And when you let that happen, your emotion, it's almost like every single emotion that you have as a woman is literally um, a message. And it's like when you feel anger, it's telling you something. When you feel frustration, it's telling you something. When you feel happy, it's telling you um, that you're doing the right thing. There's always a message there. And as women, we are so connected to our emotions because that's how we get access to our intuition. It's like when you want to be to go fall into your emotions. And when you do that and you're able to let the emotions come out and they're not being, suppressed, you're not ashamed of them, I feel like what happens is that you become like a master when it comes to your intuition, because then you connect to your feelings, and through your feelings you get your intuition, you get through to your intuition. And that's what I realize. It's completely different than men. And it's not the same approach. But a lot of times we get spiritual teachings from men mostly, you know, and not all the time, but in certain times, you know, and we just get taught about who we are so differently, and we don't get taught about how to actually actualize your power, and how to actually feel your power, and how to be completely one with your power as a woman, because once you do that, you are unstoppable. You are unstoppable. You just know who you are. You just feel things on such a deep level that you know what's coming, even in your life. You know what to do. You know how to act. It's all through your intuition. It's like I just realized that, and it's absolutely amazing. And honestly, like, it was really when I started feeling deeply. And at first, I think I did talk about this, is how I was really scared to fully go all in and just embrace all the crazy emotions that come up for me. And I just realized that, in the past, I used to always have this like ego masculine part of myself that's like, that's enough. That's enough. Now let's think about logic. Now let's use our brain. Now let's go up in this area of head. I was too much in my head, right? And when I did that, it was like really such a big obstacle, because I didn't end up actually healing, like deeply, healing to my core, like going deeper into my healing, because I still had a lot of emotions that were trapped in my body that I wasn't willing to look into, because I thought that I was going to lose control if I do that, you know? It was just like, I'm going to lose control and I just won't feel like myself anymore. I just won't know who I am anymore. And I realized like that was wrong, because I did end up going into my emotions fully. And I did end up, you know, feeling in control of my emotions instead. Because actually, when you feel them fully, you do feel the control that you want to feel. But don't think about wanting control, because it's really your ego that wants control. I feel like when you talk about like I want control, it's really your ego saying that it wants safety. It wants to know that everything is okay. But um, how much of that is like stopping you from going all in inwards and like really exploring who you are. So yeah, basically that's what happened to me, and I just uncovered a lot of emotions. I would say a big part of it was anger. I was just really frustrated, and it's like I had this part of me that the anger part of me that wanted to come out for years, because when I was a little girl, I just wasn't allowed to be angry. I wasn't allowed to have anger, you know, and I just didn't feel like I was um, in a position where it was safe to be angry. And so that anger was suppressed, and it was um, adding up. It would like add up all the time. And I remember like I didn't have that those many boundaries, for a lot of my life. But then, as I started doing more inner work and working on myself more, I was able to get into a point where I'm feeling really, I'm feeling like I'm able to set boundaries and all of that. But I still had like the anger part of me that was still suppressed. I still didn't find a good environment to get it all out. And I feel like I really was feeling that anger a lot, because I was getting triggered a lot, and the anger was coming up. I remember feeling like I don't want to be this angry person. Like I don't want to have this anger. Like I was just feeling like I just don't want to feel it. I don't, because for a long time I have suppressed it, because I just don't want to be an angry person, and I don't like the anger, because it's like feels like violence. It feels like violent, and um it just feels bad for me, and that's why I push it. But what I realized is my anger was actually a form of fire that I had. It's like a fiery energy that was actually really helpful for my life. And it's like when I was able to get it out and feel it, it's funny because I'm really still working with all of these emotions. So like I'm still kind of trying to get myself into the point where to see that there was a good purpose for my anger coming up. And so I'm starting to realize that my anger was telling me something. It was telling me, it was showing me my power. It was showing me where my power was. And it was a part of me that would say, fuck this, like I am great. I can do this. I can make my life better. Or I don't deserve this. I deserve better. It was that part of me that was putting these big boundaries between me and someone who's abusive, or me and a reality that I don't want to manifest. And so, like, I realized that by feeling the anger and realizing that I don't need to shy away from it, I realized that then I can channel it in good ways. I can channel it as a way to give me energy to do the things that I want to do in life. So I'm not talking about letting your anger out as letting it out on your loved ones or letting it out in like bad ways or destructive ways, like hurting yourself or hurting others. I'm talking about letting yourself feel it and see it and come face to face with your own anger. That's what I'm talking about. So maybe like journaling, feeling it, talking to it, interacting with it, all of that really helps you to bring out that part of you. And I realized when I brought up that part of me, I realized I had a certain power in me that I could use for good, that I could use in my own life. Because you could use it for good or you could use it for damage. But I realized when I was using it for good, I realized, okay, to use it for good is to give myself um, this fuel to feel motivated to do what I need to do to go in the right direction. Basically, if I feel disappointed or hurt or um, not happy about a certain thing, I can use my anger to move into the right direction, to use it as energy, an energy fuel, use it as fire that I use to bring out what I actually want. And once I realized that, then I stopped being ashamed of it. And then also, I realized that it's not just anger, there's all like different emotions that you can use for your own benefit. And the more you suppress it, the worse you feel. Because for so long, having these emotions come up for me, I would say in the past 2 years of my life, I'm still working with them for sure. And there's a part of me that felt very disappointed, very, very, very disappointed because I thought that I was done with like exploring my emotions and like feeling trauma coming up for me. And because I was in times or in situations in the past where I didn't interact with people enough to actually have them trigger me in certain ways or have them show me certain things that I'm not willing to see, I lived a life that was like really peaceful and I loved it and it was amazing. I actually deserved it because I experienced a lot of pain in my life. So I kind of deserved that break where I was just like happy and, in high vibes and like exploring my creativity, exploring my joy, my life, my light energy. And I was like really happy with that. And I felt like I was in a place that I can say I had control over. Like I had a control over my internal state. And but then when I met my husband and then I started getting triggered and then all the emotions came up again, I felt very disappointed and almost like disappointed in myself. Like for so long I was feeling so guilty because I felt like I was like how I was angry at myself actually. I was like wondering how is it that I still had this fucking shit coming up for me? Like why is it I spent so long to just get myself into a point where I'm happy and I'm aligned. Will this ever end? Will these emotions of hurt and abuse and pain ever end for me? Like, why do I always have to feel so out of control in certain times and have these emotions come up for me? And I just felt really angry because I felt like, why is it that I can never be given a break? Why is it that I still get triggered this way? Why am I reacting in these ways where I can be more peaceful? But I didn't realize is that I didn't go as deeper as I thought that I was. And like there's still a part of me that's like, fuck it, we didn't go deep. We went so deep. We literally went so fucking deep. How is it that, sorry, I'm just cursing because it's just what wants to come out right now, but it's funny. But it's like literally a part of me is still right now I'm talking to you, but there's still a part of me is like, how are you saying that we didn't go as deep? I don't get it. We went so deep for years. But I'm still trying to convince this part of me that like, yes, we did go deep, but we needed to go even deeper because we weren't letting ourselves go deeper in certain times. And I know this. And so, yeah, that's what I'm telling myself is that, I was afraid of emotions. I was afraid to go there because I had a lot of trauma and I was afraid to feel them. And so I'm just helping myself to feel like, even though I was really afraid of emotions, I because I was afraid of emotions, I wasn't able to go deeper, and therefore I wasn't able to fully take my power back when it comes to my trauma. So this is a great thing that I'm realizing, I'm just coming out of coming out of this feeling of, okay, this is really difficult to feel, to experience, because at some point, I was not doing the healing on myself anymore. I was not doing the inner work anymore because it was too overwhelming. It was too much. It was too many stuff coming up that it's like literally, it's so funny because that I don't know what else to do but to just sit down and actually be face to face with them and feel them, you know? Like I couldn't just kind of do an hour of shadow work and then they are gone. There is more and more and more that I was experiencing and feeling. And so I had to just break down and cry and literally crumble and be in that state for days, weeks, months. And I hated that because it made me come face to face with the powerlessness that I have always felt. Because that's exactly how I felt when I was a little girl. I felt so powerless when it comes to my emotions and not knowing what to do with them or how to take my power back. And I was afraid of that, being in that state for years. And that's why I developed all these ways and all these tools, all these things that I use whenever I feel an emotion. And a lot of that stuff, even though it helped me and I did heal so miraculously and so deeply, it's still as a part of it was me suppressing certain emotions by those tools, like meditating and getting into a higher vibration so that I don't have to go into my deep emotions of sadness and misery. Does that make sense? It's like I also used it as a way, even though, yes, I did feel my emotions, I did cry, I did a lot of like going into my emotions, but I still did a lot of going up, like feeling higher vibrations so that I can stay high and never have to feel the pain or any hurt that I actually was feeling, because it made me feel that being in that state of emotions, that it's out of control. And that was my problem with not accepting my emotions and not accepting and not feeling them and being one with them, you know? And like because of that, it actually really made me um it put my body in a survival mode because I wasn't willing to feel my emotions. And when you're not willing to feel them, your body gets this um, signal that you are actually in survival mode. And so that's why I wasn't able to relax, to feel safe, to let go. All of these things happened from not going deeper into my emotions, from not exploring them as deeper as I can explore them, as deeply as I can. And it was such a fear for me. But this experience really put me in that position where I had to feel them. And another thing that I used to do is for example, when I meet someone and I'm dating them and they start triggering me, I always like end it. I'm like done. Okay, bye. You started triggering me. Okay, bye. You know, but because and it was like easier to say bye because I knew that I wasn't gonna stay with them forever. I knew that they weren't gonna be the one for me. But when I met the one for me, when I met my husband that I knew I was going to be with forever, like I knew that he was the one for me, I wasn't just going to be like, bye, like take care, because I loved him, I had to work through my stuff. And so I felt like, yeah, the best thing to do is to go inwards. And he did the same. I want to make a video about what he did and what he went through. I was actually even thinking about bringing him into one of my, definitely, I will do that at some point, but I will make a video talking about that and how he did that and how he went into his own healing and his own emotions and let go of a lot of stuff, mostly his ego, just because he loved me, and he doesn't want to say bye either, And the funny part is that he used to do that too. So like in past relationships, he did that. But anyways, what I want to say here is that it just really, really was so helpful for my healing, because it kind of put me in this place where I was like, okay, well, the only way is to go inwards and feel them and not run away from them. Because if I do that, then seriously, um, this is, if I do that, it's going to be me. I was able to like finally see that what I was doing, like I was finally able to see that I was not giving myself the chance to feel fully, and like fully embrace my emotions. All right, so I don't want this to go as long, like too long. I know that this episode is a little bit long, but I want to say, if you have any questions that you want to ask me about this, about what I'm talking about, being a woman, feeling your feelings, having to face your trauma, all of that, please let me know. And I'm so excited to make more videos. I'm definitely going to be talking about more things that came up for me. And I'm so excited because there is a lot that happened. And so this is my first time actually having the courage to speak about what I've been going through in the last 2 years, I would say. Okay, so I love you guys so much, and I will see you really, really soon. Stay tuned, and we can have conversations in the comment section. You can ask me any questions, and that's about it. Also, if you want to reach out to me personally, I have a link of my Facebook in the information section. So don't hesitate to send me a text on this messenger. And if you have something specific that you would like to say about these topics, then we can talk about, you interviewing you on this platform. Okay, so I love you so much, and I will see you very soon. I hope that you have an amazing day, and thank you so much for your support and your energy in my channel. I will see you soon.